Hello everybody, this is Purge bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. This was a unranked game that I played last night. It is not my best performance by any means, but it was a Sven game, and I haven't made a Sven game in a while. He's on my list, so here it is, Sven game. Now, if you're just here and you're like, I'm not sure if I want to watch this Sven game, the thing that you should be watching this video for is how to play carry if you're aggressively dual-laned and play really shitty, which is exactly what I did this game. A lot of people ask that question. They say that my videos don't really apply to people because, or at least players at the lower level, because they always get aggressively dual laned, whereas I usually have a solo off lane, so if I'm playing a carry, I usually get more farm. And that's a really good example of what's true. Sorry if there's background noise, by the way. It sounds like somebody's doing yard work outside my apartment complex. So hopefully in this video we can show you guys what to do to catch up, and then that'll help you guys with your games. To be honest, I caught up way harder than I thought I was. I was basically just like checked out of the game emotionally. I was like, I did bad, like I'm just gonna AFK jungle and have a nice time. But it was actually a lot more different than that. So I played Sven. Oh yeah, by the way, sorry I didn't upload a video yesterday. I forgot that I was doing casting for Beyond the Summit. So if you guys didn't watch that, the best way, I'm going to put a link down below to their YouTube channel where they have uploads of the casts that I did yesterday. I casted 5 games. So if you want to watch any of those games, there's a lot of stuff to watch. They said that in the future as well, they wouldn't care if I did something like upload one of the games, even though it's on their stream, to my channel. So we can definitely do that at some point, and I hope you guys will like that. So I think right now I said I'm going to do like 2 days of casting a week or something. Just felt like doing a bit more casting to get myself out there. And yesterday I did 5 games, 2 best of 3s. I have another set on Thursday coming up. This time I'm going to be casting with Call on Thursday. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely check those out and click the drop down box. Anyways, back to Sven. Okay, Sven is a carry that does a ton of physical damage and a ton of cleave, but he's lacking in lockdown usually. So there was stuff, the way to make Sven really powerful usually is to get some kind of disable or something like that to benefit him. But you kind of need a moderate amount of farm before your hero becomes dangerous, and you need to have really high mechanics, in my opinion, to play Sven correctly. Because, like I said, you don't have very much lockdown. You have a 2-second stun, which is your first skill, Stormhammer, and it's on a pretty long cooldown, 13 seconds. Not massive, but it is AoE. It's pretty good. Pretty good skill, but it's dodgeable. Your opponents can play around it. It costs a lot of mana. You don't have a big mana pool on Sven. It costs 140 mana. My total mana pool is only 195, so it kind of sucks. My starting item build, if you're playing a melee and it's safe, then you should always get a Stout Shield, unless you're going to get a Ring of Protection, because you need a Basilius, and then you're later planning to get a Stout Shield. So a hero example for that is like Troll Warlord. I almost always get Ring of Protection, then I later buy a Stout Shield when I play that hero. And this is going to be a 2v1 setup, is what's happening here. The Shadow Shaman's slightly out of position here. He should actually be standing by the wave, and you should be harassing the Juggernaut to prevent Juggernaut from getting free last sets. I'm not sure. At first I thought he was playing correctly, but watching it now, it's immediately standing out that he's not doing a very good job in terms of zoning. It's 2 melees. He might as well have harassed a bit, but he is going to stack and pull now, which is good for our team as well. This is my first local recording that I made, by the way, with my new computer, so I hope the new FPS and resolution is good. I'm up to 1080p resolution and 60 FPS. Before I was doing about 720p and about 43 FPS because my computer wasn't super beefy, but this one's pretty solid, so this one can definitely handle the higher requirements. So anyways, when you're playing Sven, Stout Shield's required. I really recommend bringing at least 1 Clarity Potion to lane. That way you'll have enough for another stun. You can at least stun 2, maybe 3 times during your laning stage rather than just like 1, maybe 2. I think it's pretty required to do this. And again, I was playing an unranked game, so this is a pretty low level game. Or at least like the MMRs were extremely skewed. Like it's hard to find an unranked game essentially when someone with high MMR is playing unranked, but that's just what happened. Especially solo here. So they had a pretty decent combo fissure with spin, but I have Warcry, my 3rd skill. What Warcry does is it gives you and your allies nearby a movement speed buff that also gives you armor. So it's very good at resisting physical damage that your team is taking. 32-second cooldown at level 1, and then it goes down to 14 by level 4, and the armor goes from 4 to 16. So it's a really, really big armor advantage difference here. Sven also has been receiving some buffs recently in terms of armor. His base armor is a bit higher than it used to be. It used to be about 2, but now it's a lot higher. So that means he's more survivable against physical damage. But in terms of carries, compared to like a Juggernaut, Sven is not seen as good as what Juggernaut is with. I could have stunned maybe to get that last hit, but I didn't want to waste the mana. So, and to be honest, like I'm gonna be entirely honest, I played like shit this game. I really didn't want to upload this video because I thought that I played terribly. So just be aware that I'm aware that I played like shit this game. It's more a good demonstration of what to do when you have a bad game, I think. So Warcry, I think, is probably one of Sven's best abilities. It's not really OP in some ways. I can't believe I missed those last hits. That was weird. I think I must have gotten unlucky on tower hits. On both of these, actually. Unless 67 is genuinely just too high for damage. But I think Warcry is one of Sven's best abilities, and it's a bit underestimated. I don't think my skill build was per se correct this game. I went 204, which is... I don't know, a lot of those were like panic Warcry skill points, but I don't think that was necessarily right, but if he would have shackled there in time, we would have gotten that kill, I think. I had 2 levels of Warcry up, so I thought I could maybe kill him. Oh no, that was a different moment. Wasted a fissure there, and there's my salve and my clarity, so... Sven actually has pretty good strength, gain 2.7. His HP is actually really high early on, one of the benefits of the hero. So yeah, that's Warcry. Stormhammer does nukes, and Great Cleave is a built-in Battle Fury, basically. Scales from 20 to 65% in terms of cleave damage. Now, I should talk about Cleave, the way it works a little bit. The way Cleave works is that it is a cleave damage based on your primary damage. So... let's use this for an example. You know, I'm actually going to pause the game while I talk about this. I think this is like so important, and it's like very, very often confused by people. This is how cleave damage works. Let's go to free camera really quick. Can I move this? All right, let's move this onto like a creep wave or something. 1 second, guys. All right, so let's pause right here. So, if you're playing a Sven or any hero with cleave and you hit a creep, the hero that you're hitting has armor. That creep, the damage that he's taking is reduced by armor. The other creeps in the area, their armor doesn't kick in. Cleave damage is essentially pure. And the cleave damage is damage based on what your percentage of your damage is. So if I'm hitting for 67 and I have 1 skill point in Great Cleave, it does 20% cleave damage, which is 10% times 2. So it's very easy to calculate. 6.7 times 2 is 13.4, if my math's not wrong. 13.4 cleave damage is what I'm doing. So while the 67 that I'm doing to this Harpy here is being reduced by his 2 armor, the damage that's being done to these guys, I know for a fact, is going to be 13.7 cleave damage, or 13.4, whatever the number was. So that's how cleave damage is done. So that means if you want to do maximum damage to a super high armor target, what you should do is hit a creep or a hero nearby the high armor target, because his armor essentially is completely irrelevant. So the only way to protect against cleave is either damage block works, actually, although most cleave damage is high numbers, so damage block is not going to do a whole lot. But damage block blocks cleave. The other way to stop it is to be invulnerable in some way, like, I don't know, Yules or something like that. I think you can be Ghost Sceptered. I might be wrong on that. There we go. I messed up the whole video. I don't know if Ghost Scepter blocks. I think it does. I think Ghost Scepter does block it, but I might be wrong. And another way is to reduce Sven's damage. So if Sven's damage number is really low, then his cleave is going to be very low. So that's how cleave works. Keep that in mind. But yeah, I think that's enough about cleave. It's very important, the interaction with Kunkka usually, because Kunkka has a lot of cleaves. That's why he likes to crit, because the crit does pure damage and it just kills everybody. There's not really... the other way to reduce cleave damage is just to build HP. So armor doesn't do it. You need to get HP, essentially, or you need to prevent him from attacking or something like that. So we had another pull from the Shadow Shaman. I kind of felt solo this whole game. I had to use Warcry here, and I definitely had to stun the Earthshaker. If I didn't stun the Earthshaker there, I was going to get blocked by a fissure, and then the Jug would have chased me down. And in fact, I ended up doing that anyways, because I was bad. I actually died to the neutral creeps, which is okay for me. I didn't buy out before I died, but dying to the neutral wasn't that bad. I would have lived, actually, if he didn't pull the neutral zone. I did still lose gold from it, so it's kind of unfortunate. I ended up buying an extra Tango and another Clarity because I was out of regen, so I felt like I needed to get some kind of way to regen my HP. And we saw the low HP Earthshaker here, so should be able to approach. I can't believe the Storm ganked here. He was pre-6 and he walked all the way to the bot lane, but killed the healing ward here. And I don't want to use my stun if I don't have to, so I'll just give him a couple right clicks. I could have used the stun if I really needed to guarantee the kill, but I wasn't super concerned with that. I just wanted to make sure that we got a kill there, and we were able to pick up the kill, so that's good. So yeah, I'm level 4 now, 2 levels in stun, 2 levels in Warcry. The reason that you usually skip Great Cleave until later is because the damage you do in the early game is quite low, so getting Cleave levels are pretty crappy. Like I said before, if I was cleaving right now with level 1 Great Cleave, I'm cleaving for like 14 damage. What's the big deal? You know, that does almost nothing in terms of the scheme of things. That's like a fourth of a right click or a fifth of a right click. It's very little, and my attack speed isn't fast anyway, so cleave levels are really not that amazing until later. He ends up spinning there. I used the level 3 Warcry here to give some armor to our guys, which really didn't accomplish that much. This is looking okay. If I had a bit more mana, I maybe could have gotten this kill here. Did I chase this more? I feel like I should have given up on it. I was really not playing very wise here. But it looks like I gave up. Good fissure. I do still have a Warcry. I felt like I could maybe win this fight because of my Warcry. But then he crit me. That was probably just, I don't know. I thought that there was a chance of me getting that kill, but it didn't work out. He does have a poor man's shield, by the way, so I'm really only hitting for about 50. I did have a stout shield myself, and I had, what, 12 armor there, so I actually had a stupid amount of armor. And I genuinely thought that I could have survived there, but guess not, so I was wrong. So buying a want. There we go. This is pretty much an impossible kill because of the healing ward. I couldn't believe the Purge did this. He definitely got that guy killed. I should just get back now. What a weird fight. I felt very annoyed that fight. Sorry if I was pop filtering there. My mic's in kind of a different place than it used to be, so it's like hard to position my pop filter right. There we go. That should be okay. But yeah, go back to farming. Clarity potion to heal on up. I went 3 Warcries here. Again, the only thing that really scales is the cooldown and the armor that it gives you. But considering that we're against pretty high physical damage dealers from Jug and Lifesteal, I don't think it was the worst to max this first. In fact, on a lot of carries lately, I haven't really been enjoying maxing their stun or their new Wraith King's another example of that. Wraith King has a crit with his 4th skill or his 3rd skill, and his 1st skill does a stun, but the damage, the only thing that scales is damage basically. The way to think about it is this: if you're expecting to pretty much just cast a spell and maybe moderately contribute with attack damage, then it's probably better to max out your stun. But if you're going for more of like a carry build, then it's better to max out your scaling abilities better. And in this case, Warcry, what it actually does is it gives armor to my allies and helps us win team fights in a lot of ways, because that's a 8-second duration on a 14-second cooldown. So in some ways, it's like I'm buying an aura item, right? Like a Vlad's aura item. That was the reasoning behind my build here. I'm not saying it's the right one, and in fact, I wouldn't really argue that it is, but that is the reasoning about why I went this skill build this game, just so you guys know, because I don't want you to copy my build necessarily. It's probably better if you just max Stormbolt or Stormhammer. It's a lot safer here. Unfortunately, I canceled that one attack there. That would have been a kill on the Jug a little bit faster here.
With a face like yours, I too would wear such a mask.
And now you've seen the power of Sven's ultimate. Good blocking there by him. End up dying for that one, but it was a pretty good fight. If I would have I canceled my 2nd attack on the Jug right before I threw my stun, and if I would have thrown my 2nd attack, we would have killed him before he Omnislash. But wasn't it amazing how little damage that Omnislash did? You guys probably thought like, oh crap, they messed up the whole gank, like Omnislash is gonna wreck them, but we just ate that Omnislash. It actually did no damage, and that's because I buffed my team, me and the Shadow Shaman, by 12 armor. Like, isn't that not 12? Was it 12? Yeah, 12 armor. We got 12 armor. Like, how does he kill through that? His Omnislash actually did nothing. At this stage in the game, Omnislash usually kills at least one hero. Like, it's pretty significant. So I think that was probably the best demonstration of Warcry being a good ability. So don't undersell Warcry. It's actually pretty good right now if your enemy team is dishing a lot of physical damage. Maybe we'll even see Sven more in the future due to the fact that there's a lot of physical damage heroes that are picked lately. The downside is that Sven is not really seen as a strong carry, so maybe it's not the right way to build him, but I don't know. I should have bought out before I died as well, and you could also criticize my magic wand purchase, which was pretty panicky. I bought it, I think, right before I TP'd in because I wanted some extra fight impact. But, I mean, the extra stats are not that bad, and the extra mana pool that I can get from it are good, too, because it helps me with my low mana pool. And now that I have treads, it's really good because now I'm attacking a lot faster. But yeah, I don't think the skill build is that bad. Like, Sven isn't really about the stun damage. I mean, the ability doesn't scale very well. The only thing that really scales is the damage it does. And I'm going to use my ultimate here to double my damage. In case you didn't figure it out yet, your ultimate God Strength, it gives you bonus damage. 100% is double damage, so it's like having a double damager. It's exactly the same. At level 2, it does a double and a half, and at the 3rd level, it's a triple damage, essentially. Base damage, though. It doesn't boost up items like Daedalus or something. Like, the Daedalus plus damage does not get doubled. And the important thing I want to point out here is look how hard I've been pushing here. Look at this creep. Look how many tower hits he's taking because I casted Warcry. Like, that creep actually just took like 7 attacks or something like that. That was two creep waves and my opponents didn't glyph or anything. So obviously they made a mistake, but I basically just took a free tower. I didn't get the last hit, which is terrible. There was no excuse for that. It's about 250 gold to not get a last hit on a tower, so that's like a kill. That's like I basically missed a kill because I didn't get that last hit, and there was nobody there and they didn't glyph, so there's really no excuse. And at this point I also wanted to push this a little bit farther, but I didn't really want to do it with me being here. So all I'm going to do is cast Warcry and I'm going to run away. It only costs 25 mana, by the way, so basically every 25 seconds you can cast Warcry for free based on my regen. And I also bought a bottle this game, which I thought about at the time. I was like, you know, I kind of need some way to regen my HP, and I kind of need some way to get mana, so I thought a bottle was a really good way to do it. And especially for Sven, because Sven is very much like a limited ganking hero, so having something like a haste rune or a double damage or an invis can really give you a lot of advantage. So now I'm going to spend a lot of time in the jungle, basically. One thing you could definitely criticize me for here is that I didn't get a Quelling Blade. Quelling Blade's by far one of the fastest ways to increase your jungling speed, because you're really increasing it by about 32% or whatever. I think it does increase the damage that your cleave does, but I might be wrong on that. It doesn't work that way on Conquer though, because that would be overpowered. Excuse me. I had to stun him here to get away. And then I should be fine. See, I'm relatively fast with Warcry, and I can just walk away from my opponents now. I don't know why they tried way too hard to try to stun me there, I think. I keyed my Mask of Madness here. Really wanted this kill, but unfortunately all he has to do is run away from me. I was a little not supported by my team there, but if you look at the heroes that I have, they're really the only person that can support TP is maybe Shadow Shaman, so... Storm wasting a little bit of mana here. I don't think that was really worth it. Probably. Let's look at the fight recap. I mean, yeah, Storm basically he got levels. He got 760 experience, but he barely gained any gold out of it, and he wasn't farming in the meantime. I don't think that's worth it. Well, I did my best to get kills there, but maybe if I had ultied a little bit earlier as the Earthshaker approach, it's like that's the difference. Like, the difference between getting a kill with Sven and not getting a kill is basically one attack. It's whether or not you can like get one extra attack in there, because your attacks do so much damage. So it's really important to increase your attack speed, and this is why I'm building a Mask of Madness. You can't see it queued up right now, I've only got a Morbid Mask here, but Mask of Madness is definitely the way to go. And I'm going to move based on their positioning. So this was really scary. I wanted to run left here, but I wanted to see if they had a ward over here. It seemed like the CM was moving in adjustment to me, at the least, or I wanted to stack this camp as well, but they were running right past me, or they were running right after me, so I kind of had to... I'm pretty sure they had a ward in that, pretty much on the same spot as where I was standing. Let's go check that. Yeah, they had a ward right where I was standing. The Crystal Maiden put this down. This is why she spotted me here, and then they adjusted to chase after me. So you can usually predict exactly where those wards are. Like, I just figured out exactly where that ward was based on how they moved when they saw me. So it's pretty easy to figure that stuff out. Guys should have attacked first. Gave armor to everybody. That CM ulti like wrecked us. It like, she got pretty lucky I think with that. It basically killed me and Storm. The explosions landed on both me and Storm immediately. We got hit by like 2 or 3. I don't think we were gonna survive that. I think it was still gonna wreck us, but it did a lot of focus damage. We were pinging the heck out of the ward here because we were like, dude, just please kill the healing ward. Like, watch this. There it goes. God, he finally did it. Man. So yeah, that's Sven's not an amazing hero, and he has a bit of issues with lockdown and stuff. Earthshaker's a really good hero against him, for example. But I've got Mask of Madness finished here, and let's look at the net worth. Somehow my GPM is the highest in the game, Well, my net worth is not the highest. I'm not really sure what the heck that means, but it's probably just due to the fact that the game is a little bit lower MMR. I mean, they should be crushing us, honestly, because they definitely outlane me. But now I'm going to start spending some time in the jungle. And this is probably the fastest way to get farm as Sven, is by stacking jungle camps and farming. And the other benefit to it is that your opponents usually don't really know where you are when you're doing jungling games. This is kind of nice. I could have used my stun here, but I felt like just auto-attacking instead. And again, the Mask of Madness really makes a big difference towards how much damage you do. You're not really worried about taking physical damage against jungle creeps that much. You're mostly worried about how fast you deal damage. That's honestly the biggest thing that holds you back from jungling in the early game, is that your damage isn't really high enough. So I stack again. I made one major mistake when I cleared the stack, and that I didn't use Warcry, because 3 regular creep stacks is actually a lot. That's actually a big damage output. I think I maybe stunned this. Yeah, I did stun it, but I should have definitely Warcried. With Mask of Madness on, you're taking 30% more damage, and by using Warcry, you're more than counteracting that bonus damage that you would be taking. So I took way too much damage killing this stack, but even still, killing this stack was really beneficial. It's going to force me to bottle up a lot. But I just beefed up my net worth by a pretty good amount there. That was about, what, 600 gold or something? Between a stack small camp and a triple stack of large camps. Don't have to worry too much against these creeps because they do piercing, and piercing is heavily reduced by hero armor. Not to mention I also have a stout shield, but I will stack this, of course. Even if I'm almost done killing it, it's very important that you stack these things, and luckily one of my allies was also stacking ancients for me. Sven's really good at killing ancients as well. So what I'm basically going to focus on now for the next like 10 minutes is getting as many items as I can. And right now I just have a Mask of Madness. But the important part is I'm getting Cleave levels now. Cleave is essentially increasing my damage by a huge amount. Because if it's doing 50% of my Cleave damage to the creeps nearby, it's like drastically. If I'm hitting 6 creeps, it's like I'm doing quad damage, you know? Because you have to think about the 50% that I'm doing to every creep there, and then multiply it and add it up to what I'm doing. My base damage is 100. If I'm cleaving for 50, that's another 50%. That's already doing 50% more damage. If I'm cleaving on 4 units, I'm all of a sudden doing 3 times the damage. Do you see how much that is? I'm going to Warcry sometimes when I'm moving to places. In this case, I want to make sure that I can stack in time. And I will immediately stack. 53 is the time to stack. Sven isn't the best stacker because he's a melee hero. Melee heroes have to get their timing a bit more perfect here, but I did get a triple stack now. And I don't necessarily want to kill that just yet. I thought that I could have cleared it here, I think. I'd have to use my ultimate, but I think I wanted a bit more experience to do this. So just make sure that you're watching your timers. You kill camps when the times aren't up. You can usually kill about 2 camps here, and then you should go stack again is what you should do. And I probably should have been going mid there. I've got level 11 now, and I think my skill build actually looks pretty good here. It looked pretty bad when I was at 204, but the 50% cleave I'm getting now just really increases the amount of time that, or decreases the amount of time that it takes for me to kill a jungle camp like this. In the time that it would have taken me to kill one of these, I've killed about 3, maybe a little bit more than that. Now I think this stack misstacked. I didn't know if it, yeah, it doesn't look like they had a ward there. I think I just messed this one up. Let's see what I did wrong. I think I did it a little bit late. Well, there's 53, but they didn't start moving until about 54 here. So a little bit later until they started getting out there. We'll watch on the map if it respawns. It did not actually. So there was one creep that was barely in the box right here. So a little bit of a misstack there. So that was unfortunate. If I'm going back to the jungle, I should probably use Warcry or something like that. I'm building an armlet next. The reason an armlet's really good on Sven, it's maybe not the item you should be building, because I think the proper way to play Sven is with a Blink Dagger, actually. That was such a super, what an overball there. But you should probably go Blink Dagger, that way you can initiate with ulti, stun, and then get a couple hits off. But I didn't play it like that. I basically played a farming Sven. But the reason armlet's so good is because it costs a lot less money now. It's a strength item, by the way. And if you increase your strength, it increases your base number, and that means that your god strength does better then. Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm going to make it to the stack in time, but I might be able to stack this large camp instead. I think if I would have tread switched there, I would have gotten him. I also should have Warcried maybe. They ended up cleaning me up pretty easily there. But I bottled before I died. So The mistake there, in my opinion, was that I wasn't on Strength Treads when I went on the Earthshaker. If I was on Strength Treads, I would have had 8 extra damage, which would have translated to an extra, like, 30 damage with God's Strength, because it's 8 plus 8 plus 4, so that's 16, 20. So it's an extra 20 damage, and over the course of 5 attacks, I think that might have been enough damage to kill the Earthshaker. He wouldn't have gotten a combo off. So that's a perfect example of needing high mechanics to be good on Sven. Like, I had a perfect chance there to solo kill an Earthshaker, and I think it was a decent opportunity, but I completely messed it up because I wasn't on Strength Treads when I did it. And there's a lot of other things that I could have done. I could have done Warcry first. If I would have had Warcry, I might have gotten 2 attacks off when he was running away. There's like a lot of little tiny things that changes whether or not you're successful on Sven. And that would have been one of them. Like, I really needed to get that kill because I didn't need to, but it would have given me a big advantage in the game, which might have been enough to win the game if it was closer, you know? Like, those little mechanics differences are tiny. If I wouldn't have used Mask of Madness before my first hit, for example, that's something I make a mistake on a lot. As I attack somebody, I'll start attacking them, and then I'll pop Mask of Madness. But after the first attack goes through, it really affects your attack speed. The second attack will come much slower. So it's important that you press Mask of Madness before you start attacking. So that's something that I messed up, for example. And because I didn't do that, it really it killed my damage output. You know, I needed that extra attack. The same thing happened with that jungle a long time ago at the start of the game. If I had that extra attack, he would have died. Sven's one of the first heroes where I really noticed, in Dota 1, I'm talking about years and years ago, where I first really understood the significance between attack moving. Because Sven has such a small window to kill somebody, he's only got a 2-second stun, so if you mess up your attack moving, you've genuinely messed up your chances of killing a hero on this hero. So I've got my armlet finished. The reason, again, that armlet's so good on Sven is because it increases your base strength, which means that the amount of damage that you get from God's Strength goes up massively. So I went to stack this again. I did get this one stacked successfully, which is good. And now with my armlet coming, I'm going to be able to increase my damage by about 60. Armlet does increase your damage by 60, by the way, and it only costs 2,400 gold. So it costs just as much as a Demon Edge does. It increases your damage by just as much, but it also gives you armor and attack speed and stuff. And I'm going to use my ultimate for this. Look how much damage this is. Can you guys see how significant Sven's damage is? I did lose a lot of HP due to that, but I didn't even use Warcry, I don't think. I should have used Warcry. Again, it's 25 mana. There's no reason not to use Warcry. But I didn't use Warcry there to give my armor a boost, and I should have. But either way, look at my damage now. Like, with God's Strength, I'm hitting for about 250. That's even without armlet. He got a double kill there. That was insane. But I've already farmed another 1,300 gold past my armlet due to the stacks. The stacks are really, really good. And my net worth is still second from the top, and I've actually died 6 times this game. And I mean, the main reason my net worth is super high compared to the rest of the heroes in the game is because my opponents are frankly not very good at farming. And the Clinks has been doing a good job shutting people down. That's the main reason, but I should use armlet here. Bit of a mistake. I finally turned it on there at the end, but that should have been on the whole time, and I should have been on Strength Treads. The reason I keep going to Intreads is because Sven's armor is so low that being able to Tread Switch does a lot for your mana pool. It really helps a lot, so I think it was really good of me to get a bottle and a wand with Treads, though. That kind of removes your mana problems, essentially, because the only mana you're spending is basically Stormbolt, Warcry, and Mask of Madness. So you should be able to get away with it here. And there we go. Again, we're going to Warcry the creeps. They're pretty much invulnerable for 10 seconds. And we can finish the pushing on the mid lane here. So the next item you need at this point is either a Blink Dagger or a BKB. Blink Dagger or BKB is a bit of a safer item, and in fact this is the item that people were doing on Sven when Sven was popular almost 2 years ago probably. Back when Demon was on, EG with Fear, and I think maybe Bambo was on the team during that time. I don't remember. But again, you're pretty fast at farming just with this. Like, Mask of Madness is really what you need to increase your attack speed, so your damage is dealt a lot more rapidly. And then the armlet boosts up your damage to a pretty significant amount. So, kill Ancients, stuff like that. My net worth is still boosting up. The Clinks is actually doing ridiculous now. If we look at him, he's 5-1 actually. He's got 140 CS, so he has way more CS than I do. It's not even close. I should have used these illusions here to stack camps. That would have been really good. Instead I used them to scout, but stacking camps would have been far superior. I could use them to stack an ancient and a large camp, and then came right back through the jungle and farm jungle camps. I think that would have been a lot better. I was trying to like bait out an initiation or something like that, but it didn't work. I don't know if I stacked this. I might have just killed it in time. Yeah, this looks like a camp. Rather than stacking, sometimes it's better just to kill the camp rapidly, and that's what I did in this case. I think I just walked away from the camp because I was heading towards Ancients anyways, but I should be able to kill 2 camps and then maybe stack the Ancients before I kill the Ancients. And that's one of the things you also have to do when you're farming, is be efficient with your farming paths. Rather than like farming this wave and then going to the bot lane to farm, I can move from camp to camp to camp and then stack on the way. So if I looked at I almost went to the Ancients here, but I realized, oh, I should kill this large camp and then go stack the Ancients. And in fact, I maybe didn't do this as efficiently as I could have. What I could have done is I could have killed the large camp, backed away, killed large camp, killed this camp, and then gone to stack Ancients. So I'm going to be a little bit early. By the time I get to the Ancients, I'm going to be about 10 seconds early. And that might have been enough time to kill this camp, this camp, this camp, and then this camp. It would have been close, essentially. I was thinking about moving up to this. Looks like I did end up moving towards it. And then it ended up not being a kill. So then I completely wasted my stack anyway, so that was a little unfortunate. Might be able to get it. No, I messed this one up completely. I tried to hide here and I accidentally clicked on the low ground, which pulled it too far away, so unfortunately I didn't get my stack off. Then I kind of wasted everything there. These camps are actually really easy to kill. This one is one of the easiest, but my cleave is maxed out now, so I do a ton of damage. Armlet off, and then I find a magical DD. So now I can boost my damage by God's Strength and a double damage on top of that. But you have to be a little careful when you do that, because if you do have a blacking bar and use a double damage or a haste or something like that, and then you BKB, it'll remove the debuff. So make sure that you pop the BKB first, and then you pop the double damage afterwards. I saw the Shadow Shaman getting chased here. Or maybe I didn't. I see it now. But again, juggling. Mud Golems are really good. It's about 110 gold. Mud Golems are good if you have a lot of physical damage. If you're a magic caster, they're pretty crappy camp to encounter. And I really could be using Armlet during these. It does kind of lose you a lot of HP, and the amount of damage that Sven does doesn't really compensate for the HP you lost. So you kind of have to use Armlet sparingly. But if you're, see, here's another example of efficiency. I kill the camp, I back out immediately, and then I let it respawn, and then I kill the next camp. So this is little things that you have to do when you're farming to increase your efficiency. And again, I had a pretty crappy early game, but I'm super catching up due to jungle camps. Like, if you're farming a wave as Sven, it's maybe not as efficient as jungling. Like, jungling as Sven is really good with Mask of Madness. You're just attacking really rapidly, you do cleave, so your cleave is able to increase your overall gold gain. It's kind of like playing anti-mage, except I don't have a blink here. If I had a blink, I'd maybe farm a little bit faster, because I could go from camp to camp a little more rapidly, but this works fine. I'm going to use Armlet and Mask of Madness here to kill this rapidly. That way it's dead in time for the next respawn. And that will finish my BKB here. So Armlet off. We had a bit of a trouble getting the courier to come up because somebody else was trying to grab an item here. But selling my Stout Shield at this point is completely fine. My armor's really high, so I'm not really losing a whole lot. Saw a bit of a fight going on top. I couldn't believe Techies did damage there. Enough to kill, but he's actually got a lot of items, so he looks super dead. So, and then I saw a haste rune. I was pretty excited about that. So now I've got a haste and a DD. One of the benefits of having a bottle is that you get 2 runes. And the issue here is my DD was popped. I wanted to save it. I was going to grab the haste, pop the DD, and then pop the BKB. So now I have to do things a little out of order here, unfortunately. Little stun and a hit. So I was hoping to go like ham on 4 people and kill everybody in a fight or something like that, but considering the DD and the haste were used already, it's a little unfortunate that they, you know, I didn't get the opportunity because the DD got used basically. But that's the benefit of a bottle. You get to bottle those runes up. Like, obviously I didn't need the double damage to get a kill there, but I was able to save the haste for a bit longer, you know? Like, if you're a carry who just has moderate needs in terms of longevity, in terms of regen, like Morphling's a good example, just get a bottle as a carry. It's not bad, because it'll help you stay on the map. You almost never have to go back to base. You have burst heal, you can store good runes, you can get kills with invisible runes and things like that. You know, there's a lot of opportunities that you can use. It seemed like they had a ward perhaps because he reacted to my movement, but I'm pretty happy to be really aggressive now. When you have this much farm on Sven, you're pretty much a beast, and you guys will see that soon. These are all the items that you need. The only problem with these items is they don't scale super amazing. They're also cheap. Like Mask of Madness is 2,000 gold, Armlet's 2,400. So that kind of should demonstrate like how strong those items go into the late game. I basically bought a bunch of medium items, and they make me really strong right now because they synergize so extremely well in Sven. But as soon as I get my 5th and 6th slots, all of a sudden I'm like, do I replace Armlet for a better item? Do I replace Mask of Madness for an AC? What do I do? Like, you start capping out really fast, but it does make you extremely strong right here. And most importantly, I also have God Strength. Now, some people maybe ask, like, do I get a Midas on Sven? Midas is pretty good on Sven, but you don't really need to get it. Again, you run out of item slots really rapidly. And the other important part is that you can farm really fast just with Great Cleave. You don't really need a Midas. The levels are pretty nice, but you don't need it. That was actually really big remote mines there. That was mostly remote mines that won that fight, but I would have been able to fight through that as well. Most importantly, I popped my BKB right away. We got the Warcry off later, but I think we took a lot. I took a lot of damage before it was that point. But mostly the remote mines just cleaved up the fight there. It wasn't necessarily me doing a ton of damage, but even still, I did take a lot there. BKB is really important when you're playing Sven, though. You kind of need it in almost all scenarios, and the reason is just because. The reason is basically because if you get stunned at all, remember I was talking about mechanics, like a quarter second of attack animation is going to make the difference between you getting a kill on Sven or not. It's completely true. It's completely true, like how important that damage is, but if you're stunned for like 2 seconds, the same thing applies. Like it's really important just not to be stunned. Especially on a melee carry. Like, I basically don't have a gap close because I don't have a blink dagger. I don't have the best chase, I have movement speed, but that's about it. And I only have a 2-second stun on a 13-second cooldown. Essentially, I'm not the best hero by any means in terms of chasing or closing the gap. SNY can work on this hero, by the way. It's a pretty good item on him because he gets damage from strength items. It's not bad. But usually you'll focus on like Mask of Madness and Armlet and stuff like that. I pick up a Reaver here because I'm going to build a Heart probably. Because again, strength items are really good for increasing the amount of damage that you do. So Heart would be good. No, you shouldn't build a Satanic. That's not a good example of an item, but look like we might fight here. Use all my stuff, Armlet. Look at the damage I'm doing. Like that's how strong Sven is. Like the fight starts, you just pop your ulti. There's a lot of things you have to remember. Ulti, Warcry, Mask of Madness, BKB, Armlet. That's 5 buttons you have to press before you're ready to go as Sven. And now look what happened. It's like, oh, we're pushing. I can just pop Mask of Madness and Warcry, and I tank super hard. Like Sven's just honestly is really, he does a ton of physical damage. And the main issue is that they ran away from me. If they had 4 steps and things like that, I would have had a really bad time catching up to them. They only had blink daggers, and all we had to do is basically right click. Like I right clicked the Earthshaker and the Lina, or the Earthshaker and the CM, and they both took 400 damage, and they just like died. Like, and the game just ended. Like I basically just had a shitty early game, and then I just sat in the jungle, and all of a sudden I came out with 3 items, and I had one of the top net worths in the game. And then I have a BKB, so the heroes can't do as much. I mean, they did have a Juggernaut, but I can Warcry, which completely counters his Omni Slash. Maybe not completely, but almost entirely counters his Omni Slash. He went normal builds too. His CS was okay, I guess, 151, but he died a lot on the Jug. I don't know. I think that it was basically the techies created a ton of space with the Clinks in the early game, and then I just farmed and secured the mid-game team fights. I mean, not that Clinks couldn't have won this game by himself. I think he did great, to be honest, but I think this is a really good example of just jungling to catch up, and Sven's really good at doing that. Just be efficient with your jungling. Pull out the large camps as you're stacking them. Stack a camp if you can, even if it's in the early game, because you'll kill it later. Stack Ancients, kill Ancients, use your ultimate for Ancient killing. You can get a Mask of, well, I think Mask of Madness is you should get. Helm of the Dominator works as well because you can use the creep to stack and you're slightly more efficient farming otherwise, but Mask of Madness is so important during your ultimate, because you just need those extra attacks, and the extra movement speed is important when you're chasing down Earthshakers and CMs and stuff like that. If I didn't have Mask of Madness, I don't think I would have gotten the kills on those 2 heroes, among many, many, many other things. So Sven's pretty tough to play in my opinion. He's easy to play. His mechanics are very simple, but you need to have really refined attack moving and things like that, and farming to make the hero worth it. So feel free to play Sven in your games. Just make sure you jungle a lot. Probably buy Quelling Blade because you'll jungle much more rapidly. It's like getting a 30% damage increase, which is like buying a 2,000 gold item or something like that. You might as well buy it because it'll increase your farming speed. You can sell it later. It's not bad. So that's it for Sven. Hope the video is okay for you guys. Hope you learned a little bit about farming patterns. Again, go check out the Beyond the Summit videos if you want to watch me casting. I have 5 videos up there. I basically just theory craft about hero picks and get excited about games, and that's it. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.